We just watched a movie the other day where this Neanderthal woman, I don't know what else to call it, caveman type woman, she was caring for her little baby. Everybody had been killed, and she was trying to forage food for herself, brand new baby. And she was climbing up in trees and getting the eggs from nests. And she was putting them up to her mouth and cracking them and sucking out the liquid inside. Yeah. Just a beautiful example.
She knew that was the best way to give her baby the healthiest milk at the breast that she could give them.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I was just asked the other day by someone new to us if I was the forbidden doctor. Well, of course, I said no. The forbidden doctor is not me at all.
We are not the forbidden doctor. Jack is not the forbidden doctor. It's in you.
The forbidden doctor is that magical, mystical power inside of you that is controlling and healing
It's
everything.
that beautiful, marvelous, almost miraculous force that controls all healing.
It's that innate intelligence, that life force-directed influence that triggered your DNA to guide the building of your body after conception.
Yeah, it's that power that sustains your life, repairs your wounds and lesions, and it never stops working. It's that essential part of you that keeps you alive and heals your every hurt.
This is the forbidden doctor. It's not me. It's that part of you the powers that be have decreed forbidden to ever learn about or even consider, and never ever rely upon. For it is forbidden that you even know this life force exists at all.
You are your own forbidden doctor.
Yes. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Jack.
And Mary.
And welcome back to the Forbidden Doctor Podcast. This is podcast episode 173, Building Muscle Tone with Mary's Milkshake.
Hey, and we got a great story to tell you today. Our son, Rourke, who many of you have grown up with from our radio show of 20 some odd years. We've been talking about him for 19 years. You should see him now.
Oh, my goodness.
He's 6'5". He's just gorgeous. And we just recently sent a picture he sent to us of him working out, standing in his gym where he's been working out.
At the university.
And we sent a picture to all the family, and they all just went nuts because he is so buff right now. But he had asked us what he could do to keep up with his muscle building abilities with his fellow workout buddies because they were getting built. Just what's the terms?
Well, buff.
Toned, buff. They were getting huge, and he wasn't as fast. And, you know, they're eating these chemical-laden protein shakes, let alone maybe steroids.
Way out of balance.
And he doesn't...
You will not find a bush in nature that produces what's in these cans.
Yeah, he sent us an ingredient list of one of the cans, and it was 1,000 milligrams of this and 1,000 milligrams, 1,000 milligrams. And you explained it to him.
Well, the only way you know there's 1,000 of that in there is because you put 1,000 of that in there.
Yeah.
And there are no vitamin B trees. You know, there is no whey protein bush. And the only way you can put that actual amount in there to satisfy the label with the FDA and the FTC is that you have pre-made this stuff in advance in a synthetic form, and then you pour it in there.
You put it in.
Because if you pour it in from the real food source, the actual content of these same nutrients changes from crop to crop, from harvest to harvest. Mm-hmm. So they put all this other stuff in there to make sure those numbers look really good, so you're impressed to buy their product.
Yeah. And so he was concerned about this, and luckily he did send this to us and ask us about it because he didn't want to put this in there because we tried to get him to understand you can't use synthetic powders and shakes and not have side effects.
Well, exactly.
Especially in the liver.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's the same body height and body size. He got all these huge guys he's working out with 6'5", but he couldn't build it as fast. So anyway, he called us up and said, "What can I do?"
Yeah, what can I do?
And we said, "Raw eggs like Rocky."
Well, what we told him is what we have fed him for years.
Yes.
In his morning shake before he went off to high school.
Yeah, but
and half that time, he never knew that there was a raw egg. He finally caught us doing it, but when he realized it has no taste, and it has a tremendous boost of energy when mixed with all these other things, he didn't mind
I remember
anymore.
you always tried to hide it, and one day he said, Dad, I know you put raw eggs in there.
Right.
So you were like turning sideways while you were putting the egg in.
Well, he's had a pretty crappy diet this year because he's been eating the meal plans at the university.
Yeah, we don't love him enough to, send a side of beef that he could eat in his dorm room. So
yes. So he wasn't putting on the muscle to the degree that his buddies are by having muscle out of a can.
Yeah.
So what we're going to talk to you about is how you can provide for your family as well as yourself with one of the most nutritious breakfast meals possible today, and it doesn't take long to do it.
Yeah.
And what we have to give you today is some forbidden information relating to the incredible edible muscle-building, healing body power of raw eggs and whole food supplemental powders in a protein drink.
So in just a couple of months following our advice, his siblings cannot believe how gorgeous he is and buff he is, and he's got this Aquaman hair, and he's just great. I wish we could show a picture of him to you, but we will on our Forbidden Doctor webinar we do every month.
Yes,
it's free to the public.
Yep.
All you have to do is go on our website, and there's a little pop-up box that says sign up for this, and you just put your email in, then you'll get notified when the next one is, and it'll remind you and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So you'll be able to see his handsome face, but since this is just an audio file, you'll have to just believe us for now. But before we get to that, for our regular listeners, the next 4 minutes is our financial stuff. You can fast forward through it if you choose, but for our new listeners, please listen at least one time so you can understand how we do things around here.
So before we begin this informative and forbidden podcast, we want to take a few minutes to talk about why we do not have sponsors.
Yeah, we've been approached many times to sell different products on our show.
But we've always been compelled to resist these financially tempting offers because many times they lead to an attempt for editorial control over what we say.
Yeah, and what we're doing here is too important to be controlled by corporate interests. So we never allow this kind of advertising on our show.
And so that said, we don't make money from these podcasts. All of our income comes from your interaction with us and what we have to offer, and from the sale of our Forbidden Doctor products and supplements from the oldest and original whole food supplement manufacturer in the United States, Standard Process.
Yeah.
But we're not paid by Standard Process. Indeed, they distance themselves from open internet promotion because of constant scrutiny from the FDA.
Yeah, and as a result, they do not advertise or pay for advertising outside of a licensed healthcare professional's office.
And the reason for this is really simple, because their products are very powerful and they actually work.
Yeah.
So they need to be careful about people making claims. Others have mentioned that while the knowledge we share can't be found anywhere else, it is often tied to Standard Process.
Yeah, and that also includes our own ageless thyroid and long life energy enzymes products.
Yes, and so you might ask, could not our own products be creating a conflict of interest? Mm-hmm. I mean, have we mistakenly created infomercials instead of free knowledge podcasts?
No, we do this on purpose.
Yes, because years of experience on the radio and in our clinics and almost 500,000 downloads of our podcasts have taught us a few things. And the most important is that the type of nutrient-dense foods that most of us need to get our bodies actually healing from years of malnutrition are not easily integrated into most of our lives.
Yeah, the quest for excellence in nutrition has never been an easy task. Just face it, nobody wants to eat raw liver. But absolutely no one will sign up to eat raw liver daily for 6 months. So we feel therapeutic supplementation is sometimes very critical in the healing process.
Yes, it is. So let us be clear. We talk about Standard Process because this is how you can get whole foods in a concentrated form that you would never, ever eat on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. And the reason we do our podcast this way is because it has saved our lives and countless others that we've worked with over the years.
Yeah, so we sell supplements.
Yeah.
And so we try to give free knowledge away about how nutrition touches every aspect of our lives. And so necessarily these two are going to overlap. But the bottom line is, we may mention supplements that you can get from our website, but the knowledge we share is real, and you can take that with you forever, whether or not you ever buy anything from us.
But you can support us in keeping this podcast on the air with a donation at forbiddendoctor.com/donate.
Yes.
Or if you're ready to take your first steps for your own health, you can join our family by going to our website and taking our free symptom survey.
Now, we understand, we really do, that some of you may feel real hardship with even a modest purchase. and cannot afford even a single month's supply of supplements. So please know then, it is completely okay if you do not buy our supplements or financially support our show in any way if you cannot afford to.
Yes. However, there are many ways to support us for free. You can give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. That's easy. Or a thumbs up on YouTube. Wherever you listen to our podcast, just give us a good rating.
Yeah, and if you already support the show, thank you. Truly, thank you. And please know that you are the very reason we fight this good fight. I mean, your support makes this all possible.
So now let's get back to the forbidden information they don't want you to know.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And before we jump into our podcast, we also want to remind you about our free symptom survey, which we offer on our homepage of our website, forbiddendoctor.com. It's the most comprehensive survey you'll ever take, has tons of questions, and after you're done, not only will you get a free personalized protocol, which saves you tons of money in the long run because you're not buying supplements you don't need, you have the opportunity to have a free 30-minute phone consultation if you want to.
Yes, and of course, you're not obligated in any way, and all of this at no charge to you.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. If you go to our website and search in protocols, this protocol search box at the top left for Mary's Milkshake. Just type that in. Mary's with an apostrophe S Milkshake. You'll read.
Well, basically what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, it's a wonderful page.
Yeah, and this may smack up against the general misunderstanding of the kind of foods human beings should be eating, but the easiest foods to digest are animal foods.
Did you hear that?
And this is the forbidden information that nobody's talking about anymore, and raw is the healthiest way to eat them. Raw eggs require almost no digestion. The nutrients are immediately available for rebuilding your body. And this morning, Mary and I were sitting outside on the deck talking together and listening to a Esther Hicks podcast that we like to listen to from time to time and drinking our Mary's milkshakes.
Yay.
I had 3 raw eggs in mine.
Yeah, I had 2 in mine.
I had just finished pushing the little device all around the yard, fertilizing the grass. And there's a lot of hills, and I was a little bit out of breath and a little tired. I could not believe the rush of energy I got just sitting there on the deck resting, drinking that shake.
Yeah, that was incredible. You were just like, I feel like I could do it all again.
Twice over, yes.
Yeah, after eating those 3 raw eggs, which were immediately available for use in your body. Mm-hmm. So the healthcare system, the food industry advice we get today has almost everything backwards. We should be eating our animal foods as raw as possible and our plant foods as cooked as possible. We know, all you've ever heard is the opposite.
Now, Dr. Josh, my son, says that nothing in his diet compares to the rare red meat energy he gets. And I'm telling you, it does the same for me.
Well, we're going to play something here. It's just like a minute or so long. It's my favorite mentor of all mentors. It's Dr. Natasha McBride. And in my opinion, she is the god of nutrition because she understands the gut so well. So just listen in. She's got a little thick accent, a little Russian accent. Take you just a second to catch on, but she is going to talk about chelation and raw eggs.
Raw egg yolks have been compared to human breast milk. They literally require very little digestion, they absorb very quickly, and they provide us with beautiful nutrition. Lots of zinc, amino acids in their single form, so your proteins can immediately be built. Lots and lots of B vitamins and lots of other wonderful things. When we cook, obviously all that nutrition is still there, but it is more difficult to digest. Cooked egg yolks are harder to digest. Many people get it repeated on them, get reflux from it, and some people get constipated and get gas from cooked eggs. From raw eggs, you will not get that. Raw egg white recently has been discovered to chelate toxic metals. That's amazing. So we can remove, by eating raw egg whites, we can remove mercury and lead and other toxic metals out of the body.
Wow.
What I recommend to people when they start juicing on the GAPS nutritional protocol, you've made your glass of juice by pressing vegetables and fruit with your juicer. Break a couple of raw eggs in it, best quality, from pasture chickens, organic, and a tablespoon of your sour cream that you've made at home from raw cream. Whisk the whole thing, and that turns it into like a milkshake consistency. We call it GAPS milkshake. And that will remove all those stones from your liver, improve your bile flow, improve your fat digestion, clean up your liver, and remove many toxic metals and give you fantastic nutrition. Many people have it as a breakfast. 2 eggs in your glass of juice, sour cream, the juice, you've drunk it, off you go. You won't be hungry until lunchtime, and you will get the best nutrition.
Oh, that's great.
You know, we could just end the podcast right there.
Every sentence.
Rewind that and listen to that. That is just amazing. Yeah. Now, you can certainly make, and we also recommend Dr. McBride's Milkshake, but it's a little difficult to shop for, to juice, to clean up every morning, all the fresh vegetables to make a veggie protein shake. We prefer Mary's Milkshake because it's easy and fast to make in the morning.
Yes.
And the most important thing is getting those eggs down you. We just watched a movie the other day where this Neanderthal woman, I don't know what else to call it, caveman type woman, she was caring for her little baby. Everybody had been killed, and she was trying to forage food for herself, brand new baby. And she was climbing up in trees and getting the eggs from nests. And she was putting them up to her mouth and cracking them and sucking out the liquid inside. Yeah. Just a beautiful example.
She knew that was the best way to give her baby the healthiest milk at the breast that she could give them.
Yeah, it was really cool. So, and then we also just talked about not eating raw vegetables, but juicing vegetables, pre-digest them so they're easy to digest. Yes. Just like our supplement Cruciferous Complete that has the kale and the broccoli. And those are really important when you want to cleanse. And the GAPS diet, it's very important to cleanse after you've rebuilt that leaky gut, you've healed and sealed it back together. You do want to do a real soft cleanse. And that's what she's talking about with the GAPS milkshake with vegetables and sour cream. I recommend that too. But for every day, Mary's Milkshake is the easiest and best thing to do.
So as Dr. McBride was explaining there, raw fats from organic healthy animals is the best way to build up health and vitality.
Yeah.
So when you have raw, unheated, uncooked, organic, pasture-raised eggs from a clean source, it's an excellent health tonic. And regularly consuming raw eggs it will benefit your health, as the raw egg yolk and white, as she said, helps to eliminate stored toxins.
Yeah, and as she explained too, raw egg whites do the best chelation of heavy metals. I mean, we're talking mercury and lead, but only if they're raw. If you cook the whites of an egg, they don't do the same thing.
And when this detox starts, if it's a heavy detox, sometimes you can get a little headache from it.
Or a big headache.
Or a big headache. But what you need to know is that the eggs and the healthy whole food powders, let alone the kefir and the milk, cannot poison you or make you sick. But the detox can be a little rough, so you need to understand how your body works.
Yeah, so, you might get a little headache from it. Even when you start a supplement protocol, you have some detox. It's called the Herxheimer effect, and you can have that happen. But just understand that the shake cannot make you sick. It does not poison you. There's nothing in it to go, people will start the shake or get a headache or whatever because they're built up aluminum inside their body or whatever. And they think, this shake made me have a headache. No, your body made you have a headache trying to get that out of your brain. That little thing. So it's important to understand that because people are so scared of that. Egg whites have some of the best protein in the world. And the strong, luscious...
Yeah, all that healthy saturated fat you get from the yolk is going to give you energy. It's going to heal and rebuild the body.
Yeah, because eggs are the perfect food.
Yes, they are.
Remember, she also said raw eggs have been compared to mother's milk and are super easy to digest. And one of the powders we recommend has colostrum in it.
Yeah, and bodybuilders have known for a long time that the great way to build healthy muscle without the extra fat is to eat raw eggs regularly.
Yeah, think Rocky.
Yeah, and where do you think Rocky learned this?
Yeah,
this goes way back in weight training.
Yeah, so when you cook animal proteins, eggs and milk and meat and so on, it changes the structure of the protein. This is what you need to know. But this is not to say that all cooked animal proteins are not healthy. But when we don't cook the animal proteins, they're many, many times more healthy. So consuming raw eggs means that all those vital enzymes, which are so critical to life, and nutrients are left intact.
Yeah, you want to do a little experiment?
Yeah.
Go to a chicken's nest, and where 2 eggs are there, take the 1 egg and go boil it in water for 10 minutes. Put it back in the nest.
That's rude.
When mama's out, stretching her legs, so there's still 2 eggs there in her nest. what happens in 28 days? Well, before 28 days, one of them is going to start smelling really bad.
Ooh,
and the other one is going to turn into a chicken.
Yeah, proteins, dying protein.
And you want to be careful.
Smell
Yes.
terrible. That's why if you don't break down your proteins, your bowels smell terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Your stools, I should say. Your stools feel terrible. I don't know if anybody sniffs bowels. Oh, that's so funny. Your stools smell terrible. That's important to understand. But in 28 days, just like you said, so look what you get after 28 days with the chicken egg that you didn't kill by boiling it. You get this amazing chick with a full nervous system, full functioning body, eyeballs, feathers, skin, everything. It's so funny. My daughter sent me this funny card for Mother's Day, and it says, oh, if I can bring it up here real quick, it says, Bridget, there's a little chick, like a chicken chick, staring in the mirror and she at herself. She said, Bridget had to ask herself if the all-over body wax had in fact been a very bad idea. There's this naked chick standing there. But it's amazing what happens in 28 days. I mean, I just can't believe the energy behind a raw egg.
Yeah. So now, and if all you eat is the egg white without the yolk, this can lead to a biotin B7 deficiency.
Yeah, this is really important. The biotin B7.
Avidin is a protein inside the egg, and it's inside the chicken. And it's a biotin binding protein. In other words, avidin is what binds B7 to the egg white. And when you eat the yolks only, or if you eat a biotin-rich yolk, because it's in the yolk as well, with the whites, you're not going to have a problem. But when all you eat is an egg white omelet, you're getting a big overload of an imbalanced biotin B7 supply. And eating those egg white omelets is not a good idea.
So you often use the example of why you shouldn't separate nature with separating out H2O. I mean, why you shouldn't separate the egg from the yolk? Now,
anybody that had high school chemistry used electrolysis with some big tubes in a closed system, and they would stick these wires into a water solution and separate the hydrogen from the oxygen.
And what happens?
Which is very dangerous. Water is just H2O, 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen. Both of them are extremely explosive and inflammable.
They're dangerous.
Very flammable and very explosive, very dangerous.
But you put them together.
And you have water, which you can't live without. But when you separate them, you have 2 very dangerous, although they have a place in our culture and our manufacturing and arc welding and all the what's the torch?
H-bomb?
The oxyacetylene torch. Yeah, and of course the H-bomb. Yes, they have applications outside of water, but those aren't nature produced. Man has to produce those, but nature made water because life can't live without it.
Just like the perfect food, the raw egg.
You separate the yolk from the white, you're going to have a nutritional imbalance.
Yes. And, the other day I was reading through a little magazine, and there was a celebrity in there sitting down for an interview, and he ordered an egg white omelet. And it was hilarious. In fact, I was so concerned about it. I was so shocked that he would take the yolk out of an egg.
Amazing.
I went back and looked through all the pictures of him, and I noticed that he has suddenly started aging rapidly.
Over what period of time?
Well, I don't know.
But you can see it in the photos.
He just hit 60, and I was surprised because I thought, at 60, you shouldn't look that old. Was it 60? Yeah, I think he was about. But his contemporaries the same age didn't look nearly as old as he did. And I was surprised. You can't do that without consequences. You can't separate natural foods without consequences. You need to eat the whole food. We don't even understand how a whole broccoli works to cleanse our liver.
But a company will come along, find something in the broccoli, pull that chemical out, concentrate it in the lab,
synthesize it,
build an MLM company around it, and then have problems down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, this scare about healthy cholesterol from whole food eggs is just unfair and unscientific.
Yeah.
The amount of consumed cholesterol has nothing to do with the amount of cholesterol in the body. Some of the latest reports, this is 2019, some of the latest reports make that very clear. And the idea that too much animal fat and high cholesterol are dangerous to your heart and blood vessels is nothing but a myth.
Yeah.
And you can learn more about that in 2 of our podcasts.
Yeah, we have we have several podcasts on this topic, but we'll cite 2 of them. Podcast 98, Cholesterol is King, and podcast 137, Higher Cholesterol Equals a Longer, Healthier Life.
Yeah, and Mary also has a life insurance policy. I have a life insurance policy on Mary with Pacific Life.
I'm not going to get anything from it.
And the cholesterol number they want in a blood test has an upper margin of 240. And the average cardiologist in America today hearing 240, they'd be scrambling for a statin as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Now, should Mary pass from this physical to the non-physical world, her MD isn't going to pay me the insurance claim.
No.
It's going to be Pacific Life. And what does that mean? Well, what is Pacific Life's? Their actuaries are the one. Have you ever met an actuary? I have. They're interesting people.
I don't think I want to, but they're the ones that decide.
They do all of this.
Whether this person's going to die.
Forecasting. Yes.
Yeah. Statistical forecasting.
And so this kind of research is their kind of research is what we try to do with our podcasts. But Pacific Life is your typical business that wants to make a profit, and they're not going to invest in some losing numbers.
So I had a total cholesterol of 265, and they gave me $1 million policy. Lickety split. They said they would have given me more.
Yes.
But
if we wanted to buy more.
If we wanted to buy more, but I figured that was enough for you, Jack. So
my tastes have kind of expanded since we bought that policy.
Not only do I sleep with one eye open, but they wouldn't do it if they thought that was a scary cholesterol number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were actually above the upper margin.
Yes, I was.
But your triglycerides were good. Your HDL was good.
The ratio was good. Yeah. Everything was great. So raw eggs contain valuable fat, which, get this, lubricates our cellular structure. Now, do you think that's important?
To lubricate a blood vessel?
And the whites of a raw egg, as we said, cleanses the heavy metals. So,
yeah, but then there's the bad fat and the bad cholesterol, like margarine and the cheap vegetable oils, canola and soybean. These are the type of fats that will lead to health problems, and it's important to differentiate a good fat from a healthy fat, but you're not going to find these inside a raw egg.
No, and it's really important. These women that are trying to lose weight, and they're putting all this salad oil all over these salads, and it's horrible. It's the margarine, well, it's not margarine, but it's the horrible vegetable oils and canola oils they're putting all over these beautiful salads that they really can't break down anyway. Some of them, though, I've seen have had a cooked egg. Well, what's the one salad that I use?
Caesar.
No.
Caesar have a raw egg.
Chopped stuff.
Oh, it's Cobb salad.
Cobb salad. That's what I'm thinking. I used to eat a lot of those. I thought I was doing so well. And putting all this 100% vegetable oil, canola oil on these.
Nope.
And it was just killing my diet. Or my health. It was real bad. And that's why I had so many, could have been one of the reasons I had so many breast lumps. So the bad press about eggs is mostly sponsored by industries that want people to eat overly processed and unhealthy food to put money in their pocket at the expense of our health.
Yeah, no, we're not opposed to making money, but for Pete's sake, this needs to be studied, because you do not need to be afraid to consume a high-quality egg.
Yeah.
A product direct from Mother Nature. Just because some backwards science leads you to believe that something so delicious and so satisfying like an egg might cause heart disease or some other health problem. Because, long before heart disease ever existed, millions of eggs were consumed daily in this country.
Millions.
Yeah, and the most common piece of misinformation and scare tactic is that eggs can be contaminated with salmonella. Yeah. And even the Egg Marketing Board in England and the regulatory organizations in this country that monitor eggs, in England, it was 1 in 7,000 occurrence of salmonella.
In factory farmed, commercially raised.
Factory farmed white commercial eggs.
Wow.
In this country, it's 1 in 30,000 eggs before they find salmonella.
Yeah.
And this bacteria is, then again, that's just commercial. You look at organic eggs and it's almost non-existent.
It's non-existent, just about. But a salmonella-infected eggs comes from an infected hen, okay?
Yeah.
Free-range, pastured, organically reared hens are much less likely, or at all, to have salmonella, because they have much healthier immune systems.
Yes.
Yeah, even if you do get an egg with salmonella in it, which is, astronomically slim, it will usually only be a 2-day sickness there. Anybody that's been eating raw eggs is going to be pretty healthy.
Yeah.
But But of course, for the very weak or the old or the immune compromised people, it could be very serious.
Yeah, when's the last time you heard about a salmonella problem? And usually it's in a very isolated area around the country somewhere where someone wasn't very clean with what they were doing.
And you know, they do put this 120 degree water. They spray all the eggs also. So if it's on the outside of the eggs. And I was talking to my sister the other day about this shake after she saw the picture of our son. Mm-hmm. And I told him he's eating 6 raw eggs a day. And she said that she washes all her eggs before she uses them. We've never done that.
We've never done
I don't think that that's important, but you know, it's good advice.
Remember that the raw egg yolk and the raw egg white are packed with live nutrition because they haven't been cooked.
Yeah.
And this fact is, as Dr. McBride said, it's as close to a perfect food as you can get. Has almost every micro, macro nutrient you need. The vitamins are in there. Now, remember, this is going to turn into a chick.
Yeah.
So what's in there? The vitamins, the fats, the proteins.
The complete proteins.
The complete proteins. All the amino acids
Very
are present.
critical.
It only lacks vitamin C and the minerals that are in sea salt.
And who wants an egg without salt?
Not me.
Yeah, everybody loves sea salt on their egg, and we have to get vitamin C from our diet because we don't make it as other mammals do. So, just to, I'm just thinking raw eggs, they've always been associated with bodybuilding, but what's lesser known and what's maybe more important, at least to me, than my son.
Yes.
It improves the skin.
Yes, it does.
And it returns a youthful countenance.
Yeah, and because raw eggs are technically a chicken embryo, you know, the effects of consuming raw eggs can be akin to the effects of the consumption-based stem cell work and the placental supplements that
and
people
what replaces our skin but stem cells?
Yes, and it's becoming more common to find sheep and goat-based stem cell and placenta products at just ridiculously unaffordable prices. But these products just aren't all that different from what you find in an organic raw egg. Now, I want to make this distinction. There aren't stem cells in a raw egg.
Yes, that's important.
I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is its effect is right, a stem cell effect inside the body because of what it does for your existing stem cells.
But I'm telling you, these women will spend $1,500 an ounce on these creams that they put on their face.
Yes.
I've seen them. It's, the Kim Kardashians of the world that have that kind of money. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Cray-cray. They could just eat raw eggs, okay? Just make sure that they haven't had much tampering, including, when you make the raw egg shake, you don't want to do high-speed blending. You want this in its natural form. Now, nobody wants to suck down a raw egg as, the caveman was.
You're going to do high-speed blending of all the other ingredients.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, you're just going to...
just pulse. Just
a little pulse.
Just keep it as close as you can.
Right.
I always say until you can't see any yellow or orange, as our eggs have the orange
yolks. Well, the proteins in raw eggs are very delicate. And those eggs, the proteins, even though they're raw, can be broken down by the force of the blades.
Yeah. So an extra tip, they taste better cold. And they have a completely neutral flavor. You will not taste them. You just want to put in a bunch of powders and stuff and berries or whatever you want to do so you don't have that slimy feel at all. But this is what they used 100 years ago in all the soda fountain drinks. They always put a raw egg in, and it's what made it frothy and creamy and everything. So you won't notice them in a protein shake. And also we recommend putting our Whey Pro Complete in. We'll talk about that in just a sec. But it makes it really creamy. You don't have to add all kinds of other things.
I know this stuff sounds a bit unconventional, and it smacks up against your cultural training and your ick and your yuck factors. But consuming raw eggs, I can encourage you to try it for a few weeks. They have no taste. So when you mix it in with the food, it just makes the food richer. You'd be amazed with the results, especially when you look in the mirror.
Yeah. And another very important nutrient in eggs is vitamin K2, menaquinone. Did I say that right?
Menaquinone.
Menaquinone.
Good.
It has an incredibly important role that plays in protecting us from heart disease.
Yeah, because as you know, plaques are much more likely to rupture in an artery when you have these continually accumulating calcium deposits, and that makes them fragile. Vitamin K2 is the single most important nutrient that prevents our arteries from accumulating these calcium deposits.
Yeah, remember, it helps the cellular structure too.
Yes,
so.
And vitamin K occurs in two forms. Vitamin K1 is found in leafy greens, while vitamin K2 is found in animal fats and fermented foods, but also your own liver makes K2 out of K1.
Yeah.
So when you eat leafy greens, the vitamin K1 has this easy time making it to the liver where, you're going to make proteins that regulate blood clotting, and it has a difficult time making it to the blood vessels, where we use it to make a special protein that protects our blood vessels from calcification.
We go to this incredible restaurant that it's a German restaurant, I think. They cook their spinach. And they put butter all over it. And of course, I've asked them 100 times, that's real butter, right? It's not margarine. And it's just wonderful. Then your body will take that K1 and convert it into K2.
Yes.
And then you have protection against heart disease.
But this groundbreaking study that really elucidated the importance of egg yolks was the Rotterdam study. Mm-hmm. And they followed about just under 5,000 people from 1990 to 2000, a 10-year period, and found that the people who had the highest intakes of vitamin K2 had the lowest risk of arterial calcification and were the least likely to suffer or die from a heart attack. And amazingly, the two most important dietary sources of vitamin K2 were egg yolks and cheese.
Yeah, it's all through the study.
Yes.
They ate egg yolks.
K2 comes from an animal source.
Animal sources. Remember that.
So it's the animal inside of you, your liver, that converts it if it's getting enough K1. If it isn't, you're going to get it through egg yolk.
Yeah.
And not all egg yolks are created equal by any means. Thankfully, there's a very good indicator of the K2 content of an egg yolk, and it's the color of the yolk.
Yeah. So, we read something the other day that said it doesn't matter the color of the yolk. That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
It shows chickens obtain vitamin K1 from the grass they eat. Remember, grass is a leafy green, and they convert a portion of it to K2, which they put into the yolk.
Right, and the reason K1 is in the grass in the first place is because it plays an essential role in photosynthesis. Mm-hmm. So does the beta carotene, which gives a yellow or an orange color to the yolk.
Yeah, and the more rapidly, the fast-growing grass that a hen eats, the more beta carotene will accumulate in the yolk to make it a deeper yellow or even an orange color.
Right.
And the more K1 will be converted into K2 and deposited in the yolk. So remember, this is the part where we humans eat the thing that ate the thing that ate the thing that ate the thing that ate the thing.
And the testing has confirmed that true free-range eggs are far more nutritious than commercially raised eggs.
For sure.
It's likely due to the differences in diet between free-ranging pastured hens and commercially farmed hens.
Yeah.
Because the commercially farmed hens are fed a vegetarian diet.
Vegetarian!
And hens are not vegetarians.
Crazy. Okay, they eat both, the grass and the bugs. So in one egg testing project it's from Mother Earth News, they compared the official U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, nutrient data for commercial eggs versus hens raised in the pasture. They found that the pastured chicken's eggs typically contains 2 to 3 times more vitamin A, 2 times more omega-3 fatty acids, 3 times more vitamin E, and 7 times more beta carotene.
Yeah. And if you're purchasing your eggs from a supermarket, you want to be aware that labels can still be very deceptive because the definition of free range are such that the commercial egg industry can run the really big industrial size egg laying facilities and still call them free range eggs because they're not in a cage, but they're in these warehouses and they're all bumping up to each other.
Yeah,
hopefully
they're not out in the sun.
Despite the fact, because the birds can't forage from what you would consider to be a normal behavior for a free-range chicken.
Yeah. So we talked about in podcast 169, a simple trick. We just did this one, a simple trick to reduce the risk of heart disease, breast cancer, and fatty liver, because the choline, which we haven't really mentioned yet, but we did in that podcast, tremendously. The choline found in the yolk of an egg is the single most important nutrient needed to protect against fatty liver disease, or even non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And researchers in that field believe that about 70 million Americans have fatty liver disease, and most of them don't know it.
Yeah,
and backed up bile and gallstones.
I just getting ready to say that. This is what happens when you have fatty liver disease.
Yeah.
And besides the beneficial saturated fat, egg yolks also have vitamins A, D, E, and K, folate, B12, choline, but none of that is in the egg white.
Yeah. So you just get straight protein. And if you eat enough straight protein, you blow out your kidneys. So it's really important to have
the fat complement
the fat
that goes
with it. Don't
Yes.
separate these two out. So animal experiments suggest, I'm reading this here, that choline is among the most powerful weapon we have to protect ourselves from age-related declines in cognitive functions.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow, this is a study. So here's a study, or a little paragraph here. When pregnant rats consume 3 times their minimum requirement of choline, they give birth to pups that have 30% better visual, spatial, and auditory memory across their entire lifespan. They grow old without becoming senile. They have a greater ability to multitask. Oh, they must all be women.
Yes.
Too. So. And they have lower rates of interference memory. And that is the type of memory problems you have when you forget where you parked your car, because you've parked your car so many times before in different places, and the memories are all jumbled up together.
Yeah. And egg yolks are unparalleled in the supply of this choline that you're talking about. 100-gram serving of egg yolk contains 683 milligrams of choline, which is 10 times more choline than even the most nutrient-dense vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts have.
Yeah.
And only liver with 300 to 400 milligrams of choline per 100-gram serving comes close.
You know, Standard Process has said that they call choline a liver detergent.
Yeah.
Isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah, because it emulsifies fats that build up in the liver.
Cleans out that liver.
So Nina Teicholz, in her book, The Big Fat Surprise, which I highly recommend, it showed how the creator of that hypothesis completely ignored evidence that showed that the sugar and other carbohydrates are more likely to cause heart disease than fat.
Far more likely to cause heart disease.
And the government dietary guidelines have ignored all the vast amounts of rigorous scientific evidence on key issues like saturated fats versus low carbohydrate diets.
Yeah.
And low fat diets can be lethal. I mean, this is when you're talking about that actor with the egg white omelet. She shows why people should go back to the way we used to eat before we had epidemics of obesity and diabetes.
You know, it shows she's so cool, this Nina Teicholz. It shows that one person can change the world.
Yeah.
Isn't that the coolest things?
Yeah.
Eggs are so good for you that you can easily eat 1 dozen eggs per week.
Yes.
So, you know, that's really simple and it's very cost effective. I mean, they're cheap. It's a way to add super valuable nutrition to your diet if you don't have a lot of money. Bone broth, eggs, you know, the things we've always been talking about forever.
Well, doesn't Dr. McBride talk about putting a raw egg in your broth?
Exactly. That's stage 2.
Stage 2.
Yep. Yeah, some people are allergic to eggs, and maybe we should spend a second on that.
Better say something about that.
Yeah, and we did in the choline podcast. But still, if you've got leaky gut and you suck down a raw egg, you might have some problems with that. So, you know, it's not that you will not be able to eat eggs the rest of your life. And that makes me very, very sad when somebody pronounces somebody as, oh, you're allergic to eggs, and they never eat an egg again.
Yeah.
I mean, their health is just going to decline. What you have to do, what's imperative to do, what you must do is heal that leaky gut. Because you will not only be allergic to just eggs, you'll be allergic to everything, every protein, everything that slips through that leaky gut. And it's super easy to heal a leaky gut. Don't let other people tell you, oh, I have leaky gut and I will always have leaky gut. That's because I have celiac disease and I have leaky gut forever. I heard a mother the other day.
My doctor told me I'll have celiac disease my
There's no
whole
cure is
life.
what they say. And this mother the other day was to me, she seemed proud to say, I have celiac disease and so does my daughter. And you know what she's implying? She's implying that it's genetic.
Yeah.
Genetic. A gut problem is genetic. Are you kidding me? We are so uninformed. That's why these are the forbidden things that we are giving you, because it was at a wedding and I couldn't say anything and I kept my eyes down so they wouldn't roll back in the back of my head. And it was just, it's killing me. This is what we got to do. We got to get it out everywhere. Eggs are the perfect food.
I really would like to skip this next thing on the skin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because that's perfect. The eggs are the perfect food. That's a good place to go into the shake.
Okay, go ahead.
It's already at 40 minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
So, yes, I agree with you, Mary. Eggs are the perfect food.
Let's jump into a recap real quick.
Well, as a patient recently told us about her husband.
You do not even want to have to deal with my husband if he doesn't get Mary's milkshake in the morning. He feels so good when he has a shake for breakfast. I can definitely tell the difference. It makes his whole morning and gives him the energy he needs. Thank you, Mary. You're welcome. And I'm so glad we named it Mary's Milkshake. I couldn't be more proud of it.
I think I know who named it Mary's Milkshake.
No, actually, I didn't.
I think I did.
No, it was Dr. Josh, your son. I know
he's
you may
my
have brought
son,
it up.
so it came from me. Yes, okay.
That's right.
That's right. I think you're right.
I love
Dr.
it, though.
Josh.
You know, it maybe sounds pretentious, but I love it because I want to bring this to the whole world. You get clean, pastured eggs from a place you trust, and you have the best nutrition.
Well, let's go over the 4 powders that we recommend in Mary's Milkshake.
Real quickly.
Because this is what you made for me about 2-3 hours ago.
We do this every morning. The first powder we recommend in Mary's Milkshake, after raw eggs, of course, is calcifood powder, and it's raw bone meal. Raw. Did you hear that? It's raw.
It's not cooked.
You have to understand, most of the commercially produced bone meal products are cooked and nutritionally dead. John Courtney, one of the standard process mentors for decades, he explained the difference in how steamed and cooked bone meal is made. Go ahead.
I'm going to quote here from John Courtney. A butcher cuts meat off of the bones and throws the bones into a box. Then somebody comes along and buys the bones from him for a few cents a pound. The bones are then put into a big vat of water, and the water and bones are boiled for 2 or 3 weeks. Everything soluble in the bones comes out in the juice. This juice is dried and sold as gelatin. And everything that is not soluble is still in the bones, which are then ground up and sold as veal bone. There is nothing soluble in this type of product because it all came out in the boiling. So people who buy it are wasting their money. This stuff is totally worthless. In fact, it's not even good for fertilizer.
Wow.
By the time it's been boiled and ground up, it's just sand, and there's nothing digestible in it. Yet people buy this and thinking that they're buying bone meal.
Wow. To our knowledge, everybody's bone meal, except for standard processes, is like that. We don't know anybody else that makes a raw bone meal.
No, we've looked for it, but we can't find
The
it.
calcifood powder we recommend is raw. It's uncooked. It's uncooked whole bones with all the marrow still in it. And, you know, I could tell you how they make it. It's kind of amazing. They have to put it in a different, complete warehouse or building.
They put them in ball mills. Now, ball mill is what the mining industry uses to break up rocks. They blast it, and they have big steam shovels and diesel shovels and all this stuff that digs all the ore out. The ore goes into a crushing plant that takes these big boulders of material, makes them much smaller. Then these smaller pieces are thrown into a ball mill, a big round, like you can imagine like the dryer in your house you dry clothes in, only massive, big enough to have cars in it.
Yeah, the one at standard process is about 2 stories tall.
It's about 2 stories tall, and it's loaded with big steel ball, like bowling balls.
Stainless steel bowling balls.
Stainless steel bowling balls. So you put the stuff in there, and it turns, and you can imagine the kind of noise it makes.
Yep.
And it turns, and it turns.
Slowly.
Well, they put in the material, and they put in raw bones and a lot of oat bran to absorb the fat of the marrow. But as this is going on, it's being very carefully, environmentally controlled.
Well, they don't get it
to keep it pure.
Well, so it doesn't get hot either. They do it very slowly,
Right.
so there's no heat that damages the raw bones.
Yes,
and the
especially
marrow,
the amino acids.
the raw marrow is in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even get that in bone soup. It's cooked. This is raw bone marrow. It's packed full of nutrition. Then they take this powder and they throw it up in the air. They shoot it up in the air and throw
inside of a container.
And throw honey on it, and it drops to the bottom. And this is standard process.
Stamped into pills.
It's stamped into wafers. But that's the wafers. The powder that we recommend for the shake doesn't have the honey in it.
Right.
So they just powder it.
And that's what you gave me was the powder.
Yeah.
So calcifood helps to rebuild red blood cells.
Oh, just that.
Just like what's in the marrow. It's our best single product for supporting bones and teeth. And a couple of tablespoons a day are very good for maintenance support. You know, if there's an acute situation going on, like osteoporosis, other things, where you want to support the body's ability to strengthen bone, you would use more.
Yeah. Well, that's the first powder we recommend in Mary's Milkshake. The second is
EasyMG, which stands for magnesium. Yeah. Easy Magnesium. Now, magnesium, like zinc, contributes to more than 300 enzyme reactions in the body.
Wow.
Nerve conduction, muscle contraction, energy production, nutrient metabolism, protein, bone growth, and the formation of DNA.
Yeah, signs of low magnesium or depression.
Yes.
They used to know this 100 and so years ago. Anybody was depressed, they gave them magnesium. Anxiety is a sign of low magnesium. Gloom, mood changes, brain fog, mild headaches, muscle twitches, tremors, cramps, fatigue, muscle weakness, glucose management, your blood glucose. Easy Mag contains 20 plus forms of magnesium that cross the blood-brain barrier through the cerebral spinal fluid. And also, you need to know the berry flavor is from an organic monk fruit. And you really don't have to add sugar to the shake when you use Easy Mag.
Yes.
And there's another one down here we're going to talk about. But Easy Mag is pretty sweet. I think it's really nice. It's a nice fruit flavor. So it's a nice addition to the shake.
And the next product is Whey Pro Complete.
Yeah.
This might have had as much to do with our son building his muscles as the raw eggs did. It's a certain complement.
Yeah.
But this powder is non-processed. It's non-denatured whey protein that has all the amino acids. It is efficiently utilized by the body because of the lack of processing. It's more easily digested than other proteins, and whey is a critical adjunct to any weight loss or muscle building program.
That's it.
And it contains colostrum.
Yeah, one of the best signals Mother Nature has given the body to alert, to teach, and empower the immune system.
Yes.
So the Whey Pro Complete not only helps you build the muscle, but it helps your immune system.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you put that in my shake this morning.
Yes. So the next powder, real quickly, is SP Complete. This one is for cleansing. It will help in cleansing as it's mostly organic vegetables, just as the raw egg whites help cleansing. So
it's a whole food herbal supplement, combines some of the finest herbal and vegetable whole food concentrates that standard processed product line has.
Yeah, and wonderfully, it comes in 3 flavors.
Yes.
I don't think coolly's a word, but it does come in plain if you don't want.
Now you're a celebrity.
Yes, comes in plain because a lot of people don't like sweet things. We like the plain one too, but it also comes in chocolate and vanilla. And there's a dairy-free version for those of you who have not yet healed your leaky gut. And I emphasize not yet healed your leaky gut,
right,
because you have to get your leaky gut healed. And that would entail SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, celiac, IBS, ulcerative colitis, etc. Or you can just do the GAPS diet, So you can use SP Complete with weight loss programs and, of course, in Mary's Milkshake.
Yeah, and it supports the cardiovascular system, digestive system, cellular health, nervous system functions. It provides essential vitamins and minerals. It offers a balance of essential macronutrients, micronutrients from plant sources in a very highly bioavailable form.
It's all broken down.
It has whey powder, it has flax meal powder, brown rice powder, buckwheat juice powder, barley grass juice powder, and 21 other whole foods and botanicals. Can you imagine seeing this on the wall of a fast food store?
No, it's too expensive.
At lunchtime that you go in there and read, here's what our burgers have.
No.
And
ours are going to fill you up with carbs and bloat your stomach. And no, this is an incredible thing. This is so wonderful that we have this available to us. Then there are the Synergists. Now, those 4 that we just listed are the ones on the Mary's Milkshake when you go to our website and pull it up, and you can print it out and do whatever with it. But there, depending on what you're trying to support and accomplish concerning your health, there's 4 others that we often put in our shakes. One is called superfood powder, and it's half Catalin, which is our whole food multivitamin, and it also has trace minerals in it. It has raw veal bone, and the advantage of superfood is that it contains a lot of cellulose.
So it has a lot of fiber.
A lot of fiber.
And then there's prebiotic inulin powder. Anybody involved in gut health knows about that.
Yeah.
And this product provides the fuel for the growth of the native microbes like bifidobacteria and lactobacillus that are the good things in your gut.
It's a really important. We always put a little scoop of that in our shake. Inositol powder. This is another sweet one, so you won't have to sweeten your shake. It's a B vitamin. It helps to take fat out of the liver and out of the vascular system.
You mean clean out the vessels?
Yeah. And the reason we use inositol powder in our clinic, mostly for the patients that we talk to is it's really helpful for people with OCD. And we're talking about people that line up things, that count cars, that open and shut doors 100 times.
Wash their hands all day long.
This really helps with that. And their hands can heal because they're not washing them 100 times.
Yes.
It also helps with the ADD, ADHD, and SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder. I'm not sure what that is, but
people can.
I guess they get gloomy
through summer into fall, and then in winter they just.
Yeah. Okay.
There's reasons for that, but the inositol has been shown to help that, and it's also very helpful with a person with diabetes who not only has poor sugar metabolism but poor fat metabolism as well. Because what happens is the cholesterol starts to accumulate in their system. And this is why diabetics often develop gangrene in their extremities, because it becomes congested with cholesterol, which impairs the circulation. Mm-hmm. And then if the tissues die due to a lack of circulation, then they're going to have gangrene.
Don't want gangrene.
And so inositol powder, now we're not saying inositol powder heals gangrene.
No. You get it cut out if you have gangrene.
That's right. But it helps with sugar metabolism and fat metabolism that particularly affects diabetics.
And then the last one is a nice synergist. It's called whole food fiber. I mean, the name explains it. Fiber, of course, encourages the growth of beneficial microorganisms in the gut by providing food to the gastrointestinal tract, mostly in the lower gastrointestinal tract, which in turn supports a healthy immune system. So you realize that in your gut, 80 to 85% of your immune system is in your gut.
Yes.
So, and also whole food fiber can be helpful with weight loss.
Yeah, so just go to our website, search for Mary's Milkshake in the upper left search bar, and you're going to have access to the recipe we're talking about, plus all the information concerning the products we've just explained.
And remember, many of you may be finding us for the first time. So keep in mind the protocols on our website, even Mary's Milkshake, and what we're talking about is only available to logged in users. But you can create an account instantly or become a member instantly by taking our free, no obligation symptom survey.
And understand, this survey saves you money in the long run, because you're not going to end up taking stuff you don't need.
Or buying supplements you don't need.
Yeah, and all of this at no charge to you.
And remember, your patronage of our offers keeps this podcast on the air. So, the statements made in this podcast about specific products have not been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. All information provided or any information contained on or in any product label or packaging or this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional.
Well, thank you again for listening to this Forbidden Information and Our Forbidden podcast.
Join us next time for another in-depth discussion of forbidden knowledge, and we will see you then.
Yes, we will.
Thank you for listening to the Forbidden Doctor podcast. If you are curious about long life energy enzymes or ageless thyroid, you can purchase them without a membership from our website at forbiddendoctor.com or get our enzyme formula from amazon.com by searching the full term Long Life Energy Enzymes. Don't forget to take our obligation-free symptom survey to get a free personalized supplement protocol recommended for you by Dr. Jack, Mary, or one of our qualified nutritionists. Take the survey, get a call from our nutritionist to create a protocol and a patient login, then use that login to see your own personal protocol along with any favorites you've saved from our symptom library. Remember, our website and our clinic are here for you always.